Out of the gates and ready to go. Welcome into this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. Coming up on today's show, we'll go over the latest news and rumors on your Kansas City Chiefs, as we'll talk about a potential trade for Diontae Johnson. Also, could Kelvin Joseph be making his return to Kansas City? Plus, we'll preview this weekend's matchup between the Chiefs and the Chargers. I'll explain why I believe the Chiefs are going to dominate L.A. this Sunday. Also, Bill Belichick weighed in on Patrick Mahomes. Had some very nice things to say. We'll react to that coming up later. Also, we'll have a Q&A mailbag to wrap up today's show. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get on the program. As you guys file in, shout out your city. We'll shout you out as we get this show off and rolling here on this Tuesday afternoon. We are live from the Chat Sports Studios here in downtown Dallas, Texas, on this Tuesday afternoon. I got Cole stopping by from Wichita. I got Tony in El Paso. I got Ray J in Wichita. Is it that Ray J? I don't know about that. We got Brian in Merriman, Kansas. Good to see you, Brian. Checking in from the KC metro area there. Where else you guys at? Let us know in the chat right now. We'll shout you out as we get this show rolling here on this Tuesday afternoon. A big week ahead here on the Chiefs Report, as we'll be bringing you a watch party coming up Sunday for Chiefs and Chargers. That game set to start at 3:25 p.m. Central Time. Pre-game show starts here at 2:30 Central Time here on the channel, so don't miss out on that. Got Hector in Phoenix, Arizona. Good to see you, Hector. Thanks for being here with us. What will be the Chiefs' final record this season? If you had to predict it right now, what will it be? The Chiefs are already 3-0. Obviously, 14 more games left to play. How will they finish? Get your predictions in now. Let us know, and we'll shout you out here. I got Tony saying 14-3. Tony, what do you think the three losses are going to be for the Chiefs with that 14-3 record that you think it is? I think 14-3 is a very fair, sounds pretty accurate number at this point. I'd probably say 14-3 as well. What do you guys think? Ray J, Tony, Cole, what do you think the Chiefs' record will be? Tony's saying they're going to lose the Bills, the Niners, and the Browns as the three losses there. All three of those are road games, by the way, for the Kansas City Chiefs, based on Tony's prediction there that all three losses will be on the road and that they'll win every game at Arrowhead this year. Hey, I would love to go undefeated at home. That'd be fantastic. Hector's saying 15-2. Orlando checking in from Minnesota. Good to see you, Orlando. Barbara in KC-Mo. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by and joining us, Barbara. Get your predictions in. How will the Chiefs' regular season record play out? Let us know in the comments section. I say 14-3. I think that's more than fair. I would be very shocked if the Chiefs ended up 17-0. They've played good to be 3-0 at this point. But obviously we've seen a lot of flaws with this Chiefs team. It's been far from perfect with that 3-0 start that they've had to this point. Keep getting your questions in for the mailbag as well. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. RAC Tony with a question. Terrence has got a question. Thanks, guys, for getting in those questions. Got Kevin saying 13-4. Guillermo saying 16-1. What's the one loss going to be, Guillermo Hernandez? What is the one loss going to be? Let me know in the chat what you think that is for Kansas City. Big Tex on the ones and twos today. Big Tex, always pleasure. Anytime you're with me, my man. You've been with me the last two watch parties, and we're undefeated so far. So I would say, Big Tex, you're bringing some good luck to the show here with the 3-0 record to this point. You've been with us for every game so far.
No doubt, no doubt. I'd like to think myself that bringing some good luck as a producer has yielded at least some positive results towards the Chiefs this season.
Now, you're not with me on Sunday. Smitty's with me.
True.
So if the Chiefs lose, then do we blame you for not being here, or do we blame Smitty for being here?
I say you blame Smitty for being there because he's the producer when it happens if they lose. Plus, I have no choice whether or not I get assigned. I just get told where to go, and I do it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Dakota says 14-3. Brian says 14-3. Folks, if you want a shout-out from Big Tex, I need you to spam C in the chat right now. I want to see as many C's as we can over the next minute here in the chat. and let's blow up this chat. I already have 60 people watching right now. I know we got a lot of people that would love to join us, that would love to know about what we got going on here at the Chiefs Report today. But we have to get the chat popping so it wakes up the algorithm to get this show out to as many people as possible. So I'll catch you guys down. Let's see how many C's we can get in the next minute. Who's going to be the early favorite to be the MVP on today's show? Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spam C.
Let's go. Tony, Ethan, Guillermo, Brian, Tony, Guillermo, Brian, Kevin, Tony, Guillermo, Barbara, Brian, Ethan, Tony, Brian, Jerry. Asking, how's Bolton? We'll get to that. Brian, Tony, Ethan, Hector, Kyle, Brian, Ethan, Tony, Hector, Brian, Tony, Jerry, Ethan, Guillermo, Brian, Tony, Ethan. Keep going. Kevin, Ethan, Tony, Ethan, Hector, Brian, Guillermo, Ethan, Brian, Hector, Guillermo, Ethan, Tony, Brian. Keep spamming it.
Keep
Guillermo,
going.
Brian, Hector,
About halfway
Tony,
home. Keep going.
Ethan, Brian, Guillermo, Hector, Tony, Brian, Ethan, Guillermo. Let's get some other people in. There you go, Kevin. Brian, Guillermo, Hector, Kevin, Guillermo, Ethan. Let's go. Keep spamming it. Kevin, get rowdy. Brian, Ethan, Richard, Tony, Guillermo, Kevin, Tony, Hector, Guillermo, Brian, Guillermo, Richard, Kevin, Tony, Brian, Hector, Guillermo, Tony, Brian, Kevin. Let's go. Keep going.
10 seconds left.
Ethan, Kevin, Guillermo, Brian, Richard, Ethan, Tony, Jerry, Brian, Ethan, Tony, Hector, Richard, Jerry, Brian.
Nice work.
Good stuff.
Nice work. When I saw Jerry in there, Tex, I was thinking of the old Jerry Springer chant, Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. Did you ever watch the Jerry Springer show?
I watched a little bit when I was growing up, just a little bit.
Man, those were the days. The Jerry Springer show. That was something else. Make that say free agent on Joseph.
Got it. Good looks. Gotcha.
All right. We are at 15 likes right now. I need at least 25 to start today's show. And I think I'm being very generous. I'm being very kind when all I'm asking for is 25, and then we'll get this thing started. Excuse me. Like the video. I'll open a can of Cold Coors Light when we get to 25 likes, but I need you guys to like the video. If you want us to get this thing started today, want to have a good time talking Chiefs football, like the video. Tony's already liked it. Kevin's already liked it. I need 4 more, and then we can get this show started. 1 more. That's all I need. Just 1 more. Who's going to put us over the top and get us that next like? As Smitty likes to say, when you like the video, that's the first thing you ought to do when you get in here. It's like taking off your shoes when you visit somebody's place. When you're a guest, that's the equivalent here. So if you could just do your part and just help us out, just like the video, that would certainly go a long way, and we would appreciate that. And there we go. We reached 25 likes. So good work, everybody. Thanks for liking the video, and we can get started here in just a moment. Here is the Super Chat menu today. If you would like to take part and get involved in today's show, you can do so by sending us a Super Chat. And when we do the mailbag segment, your questions will be answered first. You are guaranteed to get on the mailbag if you send in a Super Chat. $ next to the chat box if you'd like to contribute, support the work we're doing here on the Chiefs Report. First-time Super Chatters, you get the KC chant. $5 Super Chat, we'll sing you the Mahomes song. $10 Super Chat, we'll take some shots. We will go to the Patron Zone. Got some tequila on hand, ready to go. $25 Super Chat, we will get Bean Boozled with the spicy jelly bean. I got Sriracha, Jalapeno, Cayenne, Habanero, and Carolina Reaper. And then $50 Super Chat, we'll get out the beer bong. And that's the only bong we can do on this show is a beer bong. So we'll pay that off accordingly with a $50 Super Chat. If we reach 200, we have yet to do a boot here on the Chiefs Report. But I would love to be able to change that today. If we can do a boot, I think that would move mountains. It's 3 beers in one. We chug it as fast as we can. But we got to reach $200 in Super Chats to get to that first. So up to you guys. If you want to party and have a good time, want to get down on a Tuesday. Or I should say, going up on a Tuesday. I think that's what we really mean by that. If you want to go up or you want to go down, whatever you want to do on this Tuesday, send us a Super Chat. And let's party. Let's have a good time. Let's enjoy ourselves talking about your undefeated Kansas City Chiefs here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Tex, are we just about ready here? Yeah. Let's show the folks what is on tap. Yeah. Here is what's ahead on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We'll go over the latest news and rumors as we'll talk about potential trade for Diontae Johnson. Our poll question right now, we've asked you, should the Chiefs trade for Johnson? 73% of you saying yes, 27% saying no. We're also going to preview the Chiefs matchup with the LA Chargers coming up this Sunday afternoon. I'll go over my keys to victory, the injury report, give you my prediction in just a bit. Also, Bill Belichick had some very nice things to say about Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. We'll react to that. And we'll do a Q&A mailbag as well. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show that we'll bring you coming up later. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat if you would like to get involved and take part in what we're doing here on the Chiefs Report today. I'm seeing plenty of comments in the chat, but I want to see some more questions. Like, Ethan, I see your comment here. You're asking about the conspiracy with Travis and Patrick. Use hashtag Chiefs, and we can include that in the mailbag. I think it'd be a very fascinating question to answer, but we can't put it on screen unless you use the hashtag Chiefs. So go ahead and take that same question. Just add hashtag Chiefs to it, and we can include that in the mailbag segment. Like Tony just now. Tony used hashtag Chiefs, and he got his comment in asking what the keys to victory are versus the Chiefs. And I'm glad you asked because we do have that in our mailbags, in our game preview segment that we'll be bringing you when we look ahead to the Chiefs and Chargers game coming up in just a little while from right now. So that is what's ahead here on this live edition of the Chiefs Report. Plenty to get to. Thanks for making us a part of your day, spending your Tuesday afternoon here on the program. And make sure to join us coming up Sunday. Chiefs and Chargers live here on the channel, 3:25 Central Time kickoff. Our coverage begins with the pregame show at 2:30 Central Time right here on the channel, so don't miss out on that. Chiefs and Chargers. I'll be here. Smitty will be here. We'll have a great time, so you will not want to miss out on that. The segment that we're going to do on Belichick, what he had to say about Patrick Mahomes, I think you guys are going to find pretty fascinating. Pretty interesting stuff from Bill Belichick now. Not retired, but since he's moved on from the New England Patriots, he's doing some TV work, working with Pat McAfee and ESPN. He's also on Inside the NFL now, and he had some good things to say. We'll show you what he said in just a bit, so stay tuned for that. Let's give some shout-outs. Checking in the chat here. I got Ike Owie. How do you say that? How do you say that name there? The Bengals got smoked yesterday. What a disgrace. Yeah. Losing to the Commies. The Bengals at 0-3, I think they're done. I think it's over for the Cincinnati Bengals at this point. And I know they got a great offense. Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and a few others there. But, man, that you can't – it's hard to come back from 0-3. That defense is not what people thought it was going to be. So, yeah, it's not ideal. Tony says if Chiefs Report gets more subscribers, can the Chiefs Report go live Tuesday, Thursdays, like the main Chat Sports channel, Tyler? Potentially speaking. The main thing, Tony, if you want more live shows, we got to do better in Super Chats. That's what it comes down to. We got to make some money around here if you guys want more live shows. I'll be honest, like Super Chats, you guys kind of weak compared to some of the other channels here. Here at Chat Sports. So if you guys want more live content, that's the way you do it, is by super chatting. It's not about subs. It's about, if you guys can bring in some money and make it worth our while to bring you live shows. So, Tony, thanks for doing that. I'm glad that you're asking, that you want more live shows, but that's what it would take for us to do more live shows here on the channel is for you guys to super chat more. So, if you put your money where your mouth is, if you want to send a super chat, want to send a message to the bosses, then by all means, $sign next to the chat box, and you can contribute and support the work we're doing, bringing you free Chiefs content here on the Chiefs Report as we do each and every day. Our poll question, should the Chiefs trade for Diontae Johnson? 71% of you saying yes, 29% saying no on a trade for the Carolina Panthers receiver, formerly the Pittsburgh Steelers. now there with the Carolina Panthers. He was traded there to begin the offseason back in March. And the Panthers, that's a team that's so bad. I know that they won this past week, that in all likelihood will be sellers at the deadline and could try to get something for Johnson and trade off some other pieces as well. The Panthers just an absolute mess. And I think it goes back to their owner, David Tepper, who is just the worst owner in the NFL. He's kind of taken that mantle from Dan Snyder as far as that goes. Terrence, I see your question. We'll include that in the mailbag. Appreciate you getting that question in. Very good question using hashtag Chiefs. If you want to leave like Terrence, get in on that mailbag segment. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. And we'll include it on the mailbag coming up later on. So stay tuned for that here on the Chiefs Report today. We are going to bring you news and rumors in just a moment. We'll also preview the Chiefs matchup with the Chargers. And Bill Belichick weighing in on Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes had some nice things to say. We'll show you what he had to say and break it down kind of piece by piece, and then get to that Q&A mailbag later on using hashtag Chiefs or Super Chatting to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. So stay tuned for that as we'll bring you that coming up later on. And the game preview, I got to tell you, I feel very confident this week. Maybe a little too confident. Grr, I think that's how you say it. It's a good question, but why didn't you use hashtag Chiefs? How many times do I have to say it? Hashtag Chiefs. You want your question in the mailbag, man. Simple as that. Use hashtag Chiefs, and I'll answer it. But I can't answer it unless you use hashtag Chiefs. We cannot, our software cannot put it on screen without the hashtag Chiefs. It's a good question, but I can't put it on screen unless you use hashtag Chiefs. No worries. Be like Tony there. Use hashtag Chiefs. Simple as that. Tony's got a lot of good questions. Tony is definitely getting in the mailbag. I can tell you that right now. Tony is going all in with his mailbag questions that he's got. Ethan, I see he's got a question. We'll include that as well. What? Okay. Okay. All right. We are just about ready to get started. Tex is finishing up some last-minute graphic changes, and then we'll get things started. There we go, Gurr. 90086. Now we can include that in the mailbag. Gurr, that's how it's done. Hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. Appreciate you doing it that way. And now we can put that in the mailbag segment. Be like Gurr, be like Ethan. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat, and we'll include those questions in. Next, we're doing news and rumors. Talking Diontae Johnson, also Kelvin Joseph, and more coming up in just a bit. Then we'll preview Chiefs and Chargers. And then we'll talk Bill Belichick. And then we'll do our mailbag segment. All right. All right. We're just about ready to go. Tony's ready. I'm ready. Believe me, Tony. We'll get this started. Our first segment of the day, talking news and rumors on your Kansas City Chiefs. I see Christy Boyd throwing in a C in there. Welcome, Christy. Good to see you here. Glad to have you on the show with us. All right, without further ado, news and rumors. Let's talk Diontae Johnson and Kelvin Joseph here on this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report on this Tuesday afternoon. Glad to have you with us. Jonesy, Big Tex in the house. Let's get started right now here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Coming up on today's show, could the Chiefs be in the trade market for Diontae Johnson of the Carolina Panthers? We will talk about that possibility and weigh in on the newest Chiefs trade rumor in just a bit. Also, Kelvin Joseph, could he be making a return to Kansas City after initially missing out on the Chiefs' 53-man roster on cutdown day? We'll explain more in just a little while from right now. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. Before we go any further in today's show, folks, I want to set a new like record for the month of September. The most likes we've had on a video for the entire month is 558, which I'll say he's pretty good. But we can do better than that, folks. I want to get to 600 likes on today's video. If you love your Kansas City Chiefs, if you're a diehard fan, if you're glad to be hanging out with us here in the Chiefs Report today, do your part. Like the video, and we'll get rolling here on today's show. Fansided has suggested that the Chiefs should be in the trade market for Carolina Panthers wide receiver Diontae Johnson. Johnson was traded to Carolina back in March from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Carolina Panthers have been one of the worst teams in the NFL to start off the season. And despite Johnson just getting there, because of how bad the Panthers are, there is a belief that they could trade him among a number of players at the trade deadline, as they're expected to be sellers. And the Chiefs, their wide receiver situation, a little questionable right now since the injury to Hollywood Brown. They haven't necessarily replaced him. Could Johnson be the answer they're looking for? Here's more from Fansided. Kansas City has a solid wide receiver core coming into the season. Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy is more than enough weapons for Patrick Mahomes. Throw in Travis Kelce and Isaiah Pacheco, and you have one of the more talented offensive units in the league. But Brown and Pacheco are now set to miss quite a bit of time with injuries, and Kelce has struggled out of the gate. Kansas City could use an additional weapon, and Johnson would be the perfect route runner to add to Mahomes' offense. Now, I understand the logic here that the Chiefs' receiving core is a little shorthanded right now, and I understand why you would think this team might need to be weighing their options and potentially go shopping and look for a guy like Johnson. But for me, until it costs this team in the win-loss column, I don't see the need to make a move just yet. Now, maybe by the trade deadline, things change, and it becomes obvious to us that the Chiefs need to make a move. But at least for now, you're still winning football games. It might not be pretty, but it's good enough to get the job done right now. And I don't think this Chiefs team's come close to playing to their full potential yet. You look at the Chiefs receiving core through the first 3 games. Rashee Rice has been fantastic. He is second in the league in receiving yards, first in catches, tied for 9th in touchdowns. But beyond that, it has been pretty bleak. Xavier Worthy's had a few moments here and there. Travis Kelce yet to get going. We've seen a few catches from Justin Watson, and obviously Pacheco is out of the lineup right now. But when it comes to Johnson, the price tag is a bit too steep for my liking here of what it would take to bring in Diontae Johnson, of the trade idea that Fansided has proposed. They are proposing that the Chiefs give up a 2025 third-round pick, a 2026 fifth-round pick, and a 2025 seventh-round pick. 3 picks in all, including that third-rounder, to bring in Johnson, who I'll say Johnson's a decent receiver, but he's not one of the best in the league by any stretch. A Pro Bowler back in 2019, was a second-team All-Pro, and was really good to begin things in Pittsburgh, but he hasn't looked as good as what he used to be. He's still a decent receiver, but to me, that's a lot for a guy whose production has gotten worse over the last couple of seasons. Here's what I mean. When you look at the statistics, 2021, over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. And then in 2022, playing in more games, his catches went down. His yards went down. Didn't have a single touchdown. Last year, yardage and catches went down again. His yards per catch did go up. Got 5 touchdowns. He's off to a decent start to this season with 13 catches for 156 yards and a touchdown. He'd probably be your number 2 or number 3 receiver in this offense. But to me, that is asking a lot for a guy that has had a downward trajectory at this point in his career. Your chance to be Brett Veach here in the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Should the Chiefs trade for Diontae Johnson? Type T for trade, type P for pass. Weigh in and let us know. The Kansas City Chiefs Report is bringing you nonstop Kansas City Chiefs coverage with our daily news and rumors, our live shows every Tuesday, watch parties for almost every game this season. This is your one-stop shop for all things Kansas City Chiefs. If you are a real member of the Chiefs Kingdom, you got to be subscribed to the Chiefs Report. Help us reach our next milestone of 59,000 subscribers here on the channel. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. Lock us in. Never miss a moment. Let's talk Kelvin Joseph now, as Arrowhead Addict is suggesting that the Chiefs should consider bringing back Kelvin Joseph to the Kansas City Chiefs. If you recall, Kelvin Joseph was an impact player, had a pretty decent training camp and preseason, ultimately missed out on the active 53-man roster on roster cutdown day, goes to the Colts, and the Colts have already released him from their active roster just a few weeks in. So what about the idea of bringing him back? There's more from Matt Connor of Arrowhead Addict. It's a bit odd to think that the NFL has no use for Joseph after watching him put up impressive practices and preseason reps for the Chiefs this summer. If it wasn't for a bevy of talent already in-house, it feels like a safe assumption that Joseph could have stuck around in some fashion. But the competition was simply too great. Joseph proved himself to be a physical tackler while on defense for the Chiefs and forced a fumble on a punt return against the Detroit Lions, showing off his value on special teams. He's a physical force with a nose for the ball who once showed enough upside to be a second-round choice back in 2021 for the Dallas Cowboys. I totally get where Arrowhead Addict is coming from here, but with where the Chiefs are at, as they mentioned, when it comes to the guys competing for those spots, I don't think things have changed between where Kelvin Joseph was at when he was let go by the Chiefs compared to where he is at now. It's not like that the Chiefs have had these corners just look so bad that Kelvin Joseph would all of a sudden have a spot on this active roster. I don't believe that to be the case. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs, in all likelihood, if you brought him in, he would be going to the practice squad at this point in time. And the Chiefs have added a couple guys at that corner spot to the practice squad. So, with that said, bringing in Kelvin Joseph, I would sit here and I would say, all right, if he's going to be a practice squad player, that's fine. But I don't think things have changed where he belongs on the active roster necessarily. Joseph, a journeyman in the NFL over the last few years with the Cowboys, the Dolphins, the Seahawks, the Chiefs, and the Colts, did get a ring on the practice squad for the Chiefs last year for the former top draft pick out of Kentucky. But I just don't see it for Kelvin Joseph here. And when I look at the Chiefs' corner situation, we'll show more in just a bit. I think that this team is better off than what people give them credit for. And we'll show you some numbers and explain why here in just a moment. Should the Chiefs sign Kelvin Joseph? What do you guys think? Type Y for yes, in for no. Way in the comment section. Let us know what you guys think. We have Xavier Worthy jerseys on sale now. He is worthy. Get yours now at chatsports.com/worthy. Free shipping available. Got the home whites, home red. Got the road whites, men's and women's options for you. Go see for yourself. Chatsports.com/worthy. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Free shipping available as well. And you can see all the other stuff that we're selling there on that same link, chatsports.com/worthy. So then the next question becomes, how big is the concern for the Chiefs corner room at this point in time? And personally speaking, a lot of the outside noise that we've heard really since the Chiefs moved on from L'Jarius Sneed was, I feel, greatly exaggerated when it comes to this corner room. Is it one of the strengths of this team? Not necessarily, but it's not as bad as people would let on to be for this group. Trip McDuffie's had a great start to this season. His grades, according to PFF, are 71 or higher in almost every category except pass rush. And honestly, he doesn't need to be rushing the passer that much and still has a 68 grade. You can see Jalen Watson with a 62.6, Joshua Williams with a 58.3, Johnson with a 52.4. You look at some further statistics of the past defense rankings, they could be better, no question about it. 58.64% opponent pass play percentage, that's 23rd in the league. Completion percentage, 15th at 65.09. Opponent yards per pass, 7.0, that's 22nd. Opponent passing yards per game, 247.3, that's 28th. Opponent interception percentage, 0.94, 27th. But those numbers, relative to the rest of the league, the Chiefs have had one of the tougher schedules to start the season, where those numbers are, I think, inflated compared to some of these other teams based on their opponents. You faced Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Kirk Cousins here. Now, if things change when you face some easier quarterbacks, if you will, those numbers will improve. So to be at that spot 3 weeks in, I can live with that. I don't think this is as much of a problem as people let on that it is. What is your concern level for the Chiefs corner room right now? If you had to scale it for me, what would it be? 1 through 10. Wait in the comments section. Let us know what you think. If you enjoyed today's show, if you love your Kansas City Chiefs and want to set that like record, do your part. Like today's video. We certainly would appreciate it. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and we will see you next time right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. All right. 1 segment down. 3 more to go. Should the Chiefs trade for Diontae Johnson? Type T for trade, P for pass. It's our poll question right now. 62% of you saying yes. 38% saying no. Texas got to take.
He might be washed. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Now, I'll say this. To Texas' point, he might be washed. Andy does have some magic. Like, I thought Juju was washed, and Juju played pretty good this past week.
He did make Juju look good.
If anybody could save Diontae Johnson, it would be Andrew Reid, potentially speaking. What do you guys think? T for trade, P for pass. Tony, I see lots of P's in there saying pass. Christy's saying no. Ethan is saying hard pass, too much to give up. But the poll, everybody for the most part saying yes, 62%. Super chat menu. Who's going to send the first super chat of the day? I don't care if it's $1 or $50. We're going to go crazy when we get our first super chat here on today's show. I want something. Just give me a little juice. Give me a little something to get excited about today. I just need one super chat. That's all I'm asking. Just give me one. $sign next to the chat box. First-time super chatters, you'll get the KC chant. $5 super chat will sing the Mahomes song. $10 super chat will take down some shots. $25 super chat will get Bean Boozled with the spicy jelly bean. $50 super chat, we will do a beer bong. So that is what's on the menu today. If you would like to contribute, support the work we're doing, and get involved here in the Kansas City Chiefs Report, we would appreciate it. Tony says I'm broke. Tony, no worries. We've all been there at some point in time. Appreciate you being active in the chat and hanging out with us. That chat is crucial. Anytime we get people just rocking in that chat and commenting the way you are, Tony, we certainly appreciate it in any way, shape, or form. So thanks for doing that. Tony saying pass. Christy saying pass. No. The Chiefs are on the road. Oh, yeah. I thought you meant the other way. Yeah. Yeah. So Tony says he loves the spicy jelly bean. Yeah, Big Tex is not necessarily a fan, but it's very fun to watch. Very fun to watch, but it's not necessarily fun for those that have to consume. I know that much. Let's see. Asked you earlier about predictions for the Chiefs record. Steve O, the resident expert on everything, says 12-5. The offense is weak. Oof, that's brutal. It's, I understand the offense hasn't been great, but I wouldn't call this offense weak when you still have Patrick damn Mahomes under center. Steve-O says defense can't carry them forever. I think there's some truth, but I wouldn't use the word weak to necessarily describe this group right now. Steve-O says defense won the last 2 games. Defense has been huge. Defense has come through. Nobody's denying that. I can tell you that much on that front. Coming up in just a moment, we'll get to our game preview. Chiefs and Chargers. We'll set the scene for this Sunday's matchup, the first AFC West battle for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's coming up. And then later on, we'll talk about Bill Belichick, what he had to say about Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Some very kind words. Then we'll get to our mailbag. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get your questions in on the mailbag segment. Ethan, Steve-O, Terrence, you guys got questions for the mailbag? Christy, you got questions for the mailbag? I want you guys in that mailbag segment. I want you guys to use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. Make sure to take part and get involved in the mailbag we'll be bringing you coming up later on. So stay tuned for that. We continue with our live coverage here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Tyler Jones, Big Tex here with you as we are talking all things Kansas City Chiefs here on this Tuesday after a nice win on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. It wasn't necessarily pretty, but hey, it was good enough. And that's sometimes all it takes here in the National Football League. Let's see. I got Greenback Dollar Bill 2. That's a username. Check it in from Sao Paulo, Brazil. And then he says, Jerry. Is your name Jerry? Okay. Sao Paulo, Brazil. They had the Packers-Eagles game there. Did you go there, Jerry? Did you make it to that game? That was something. That was a great time. I heard it wasn't safe down there. Hopefully you're staying safe, Jerry, in Brazil. It can be a little dangerous there from what I hear. I have not been to Brazil. It's not high on my list of places to go to, quite frankly. All right. Tony says he loves beer bongs, shots, and the Mahomes song. We love all that, too. I can tell you that much. All right. We're just about ready here for our game preview. Chiefs and Chargers. Let's set the scene for Sunday's matchup, week number 4 in the National Football League. Yes, sir. We will talk about that right now. Matthew says the offense is weak. I'm not riding the fence. You got Patrick Mahomes. I'm never calling this offense weak with Patrick Mahomes under center. You can say it's lethargic, or you can say that it's got some holes or some question marks, but I'm not saying weak. No, this offense is not weak. That's not the word to describe this offense properly. Without further ado, let's preview Chiefs and Chargers starting right now here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Chiefs and Chargers coming up on Sunday afternoon for week number 4 in the National Football League as the Chiefs look to keep their undefeated 3-0 record alive and advance to 4-0 for their first divisional matchup of the year as they take on Jim Harbaugh in the LA Chargers for the first time this season. The Chiefs come in as 9-point favorites. The over-under set at 39 on this edition of the program. We will go over my keys to victory. I'm going to tell you how the Chiefs are going to dominate the Chargers. We'll go over the injury report, and I'll give you my prediction for this one as well. Before we do, folks, if you're ready for Chiefs game day, spam Chiefs in the chat. It's our rallying cry on our watch parties. I want to see no less than 300 C's in the chat. If we get 300 C's in the chat, that's going to guarantee victory. Do your part. Spam C in the chat, and we'll get started with today's show. Good news for the Chiefs. There are no active players. That's the key words here. Active players on the injury report at the time of this recording. All right? Pacheco, obviously, not on the active roster. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, not on the active roster with their injuries and their situations, among others. But at the very least, of the active 53, everybody should be fine and ready to go. The same cannot be said, though, for the LA Chargers. Justin Herbert with an ankle injury, questionable. Joey Bosa with an ankle injury, questionable. Josh Palmer with an elbow injury, he's questionable. While Joe Alt with the MCL is questionable. Rashawn Slater with a pec injury, he's questionable. And Junior Colson with the hamstring injury, he is questionable. And then another one for the Chargers. Safety Derwin James has been suspended by the National Football League for Sunday's game for illegal hits. So the Chargers are going to be shorthanded for this one. What's it going to take to beat LA? Well, let's start with our keys to victory for Kansas City. Number one, more Rashee Rice. Let's keep having some rice for dinner. Some fried rice, some white rice, some brown rice. We want all the rice this Sunday, as Rashee Rice has been on fire to start off the 2024 campaign. Right now, Rashee Rice is first in the National Football League in catches with 24 total. He's second in receiving yards with 288, and he's tied for 10th in receiving touchdowns with 2. He has been awesome for this Chiefs offense, and I've said this, and I'll say it again. I think he looks like a top 10 receiver in the National Football League right now based on the way that he's playing. The numbers for Rashee Rice to start the season, you can see for yourself. 12 yards of reception. He's done a really good job of getting open. One of the things I like what the Chiefs have done with Rashee Rice is that they are getting to him early in these football games, that they're setting the tone with Rashee Rice and making him an instant impact player in this offense. If I'm the Chiefs, I'm doing that again. I'm getting Rashee Rice involved as quickly as possible against this Chargers defense. Who do you got? You going with the Chiefs or you going with the Chargers? I got my prediction coming up later, but want to hear from you guys first. Spam KC if you think the Chiefs are going to win. If for whatever reason you think the Chargers are going to win, first off, you're wrong, but go ahead and type LAC if you think that's the case. Get your predictions in now. Who do you got this Sunday? Let us know in the comments section below. We'll be live right here on the channel for Chiefs and Chargers, as I'll be joined by Smitty. We'll begin our pregame coverage at 2:30 Central Time with kickoff at 3:25. You will not want to miss it. Chiefs and Chargers live right here on the Chiefs Report. Subscribe now and turn on notifications. That way you're alerted of when we go live and don't miss a moment of the latest Chiefs coverage. We're going to have a great time. Going to have a few drinks on hand. You will not want to miss it. Chiefs and Chargers live this Sunday right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Number 2 on our keys to victory for Kansas City is establishing the run. No Pacheco, obviously. The Chiefs turn their attention to Carson Steele as well as Samaje Perine, and we are expecting that Kareem Hunt will be activated, making his much-anticipated debut for the Kansas City Chiefs this season. So far, Carson Steele has been very solid for this Chiefs team, averaging close to 4 yards a carry, had over 70 yards in the win against the Atlanta Falcons. They're not needing Carson Steele to just be, a back burner for these opposing defenses that he's facing. They just need him to be steady Eddie, to get 4 and 5 yards a carry and just be a grinder out there. If they can get that at Carson Steele, if they can get him and Perine catching passes out of the backfield, that's going to be more than enough. And you look at the Chiefs' rushing rankings. They're in the top half in almost every category except yards per rush. And you'll live with a 4.1 yards per rush total, even though it's 21st in the league. I think this Chiefs run game has shown that even without Pacheco, these guys are good enough to get the job done. And I think you got to do what you can to continue to run the football with these guys and wear out these defenses with your run game. Number 3 on our keys to victory for the Kansas City Chiefs is an aggressive pass rush. We know what the Chiefs got with guys like Chris Jones and George Karlaftis and among others here. They have the athletes to do it, but so far to begin 2024, the Chiefs haven't really done what they should when it comes to getting after the quarterback. Get this, folks. The Chiefs' defense has a sack rate percentage of just 5.36%. That's 25th in the NFL. And we showed you the injury report earlier for the LA Chargers here. This is a team that's a little shorthanded on the offensive line, right? So this is an area where you have to capitalize. And with the uncertainty with Justin Herbert, even if he does play, you would love to rattle his cage a little bit, as Dale Earnhardt would say, and get after him, make him uncomfortable. The Chargers, their offense has allowed a sack rate of about 9.59%. That's 22nd in the NFL. So for me, that tells me right there, the Chiefs not only need to do a better job of getting after the quarterback, but that the Chargers, their weakness, this is a area that the Chiefs can expose, they can exploit and take advantage of. And there's one guy in particular I'm watching for that I want to see step up this week, and that's George Karlaftis. Karlaftis only has 1 sack through 3 games, and he had a lot of sacks last year. He's got 5 QB hits. He's getting after the quarterback, but he hasn't been able to quite finish those plays. I want to see more from Karlaftis. I think this could be a good week for him. Who will be the Chiefs' MVP against the LA Chargers? Will it be a guy like Karlaftis? Will it be a guy like Carson Steele or somebody else? Way in the comments section, let us know who you believe the Chiefs' MVP will be against LA. We got a great deal that we're offering right now through BetUS, folks. You can bet on this game as well as Chiefs football all season long at chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. And we are offering you a 125% deposit bonus on your first deposit when you use the promo code Chiefs125. If you put down $100, you're going to get $125 to spend for free. It's like getting a pizza and then getting a free pizza and an extra slice, folks. You don't want to pass up on this. Chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. The odds for this weekend, the Chiefs favored by 9, the over-under at 39. Let me know in the comments section, what's your bet going to be? You taking the Chiefs to cover? You taking the over? You taking the under? What is it? Weigh in and let us know. Number 4 on our keys to victory for the Kansas City Chiefs, taking care of the football. Through the first 3 games, the Chiefs, they may be undefeated, but they haven't done a good job of protecting the football, and that goes for everybody. Patrick Mahomes has thrown too many interceptions at this point. We've seen a few guys fumble here and there. They got to do a better job of protecting the football, and that has been one of the strengths of the Chargers' defense is their ability to get takeaways. You look at the turnover stats for the Chiefs' offense right now. Turnover margin, 24th in the league. Giveaways a game, 25th. Takeaways, 13th. Interception percentage, 4.35%. That's 30th in the league. That's an extremely high number, and it's very unusual for Patrick Mahomes. You compare that to the other side of the LA Chargers. Here's what I mean. Their turnover margin, they're 5th in the league. Giveaways, 6th. Takeaways, 5th. Interceptions thrown, 9th. They do a really good job of creating those extra possessions. The last thing you want to do is give Justin Herbert some extra time, some extra chances to make plays, he or whoever's playing quarterback for LA. Number 5 on our keys to victory, let Nick Bolton fly. I like what I've seen from Nick Bolton through the first 3 weeks of the season, and I want to see more of Nick Bolton. I want to see him go out there and just do his thing, let him work. So far this season, Nick Bolton has accounted for 22 tackles, 4 TFLs, along with 2 pass breakups, still looking for his first sack. And Nick Bolton, he's putting in the work. He said this recently about his season so far. Yeah, you've got faith in your work, man. We've been talking all week. We kind of go late in the afternoon, situational football. We pride ourselves on that, and I'm trying to be prepared, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever we have to go out there and execute it. I'm always trying to win. Just trust the work, trust the things you do throughout the week, trust the keys, trust everything you've been putting into training camp, and you've just got to come out, and we're kind of worked in our favor today. So, before I reveal my prediction for this one, I want to hear, what's your confidence level in the Chiefs beating the Chargers? My confidence level, without spoiling my pick, is pretty high. I think this is about a 9 out of 10. I feel very confident. I don't think the Chargers are that good of a football team. What's your confidence level at? Weigh in, let us know. To recap, our keys to victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. Need to see more Rashee Rice. Need to establish the run with Carson Steele and company. Need an aggressive pass rush with Chris Jones and Karlaftis. Need to take care of the football. Mahomes and company got to cut back on those turnovers. Let Nick Bolton fly, go out there and dominate, do his thing. If the Chiefs do all that, I think they're in great shape. I think this is the first convincing win of the season for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll go KC 30-13. If you're ready for game day, you want that Chiefs win, spam C in the comments section, and we will see you next time right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. All right, 2 down. We're halfway home. Up next, we're going to talk Bill Belichick and what he had to say about Patrick Mahomes. And then we'll do a Q&A mailbag. Use hashtag Chiefs for Super Chat to get into the mailbag portion of the show. Who do you got, KC or LA? Get the chat right now and let us know what you think. Tony's saying KC. Guillermo saying KC as well. Yeah, we got to hurry, though. Here's the Super Chat menu. This is what we're offering today. First time Super Chatters get the KC chant. $5 Super Chat, do the Mahomes song. $10 Super Chat, we'll take down some shots. $20 Super Chat, we'll get Bean Boozled with a spicy jelly bean. $50 Super Chat, we will do a beer bong. Still waiting. Who is going to be the one to send in the first Super Chat of the day? I'm very curious. Who wants to party? Who wants to get this thing started and have a good time with us? If you send in a Super Chat, I can tell you this right now, you're not going to be disappointed. You will not regret it if you send in a Super Chat. $sign next to the chat box. A reminder, we got our mailbag coming up later. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get on that mailbag portion of the show. I see Chris randomly saying Atlanta. Is that where you're watching from, Chris? What are you talking about with Atlanta there? We just beat Atlanta. I'm done with Atlanta. Let's see. Tommy's taking the Chiefs. Ethan's going with the Chiefs. Tony's going with the Chiefs as well. Tony's also asking us about the Royals clinching a playoff spot. Man, I hope the Royals can figure it out. They haven't played great as of late. Kind of disappointing what we've seen from the Royals down the stretch heading into the postseason. Up next, let's talk Belichick, what he had to say about Patrick Mahomes. And then we will get to our mailbag segment before we wrap up and call it a day here on the program. We'll talk Belichick right now here as we continue with this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Jones and Big Tex here with you. Let's get after it right now as we continue here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Belichick on Mahomes. Here we go. You're watching the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Hall of Fame head coach Bill Belichick, the 8-time Super Bowl champion, had some very kind words to say about Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes after the win against the Atlanta Falcons. We will show you what he had to say, break it down piece by piece, coming up in just a moment. Before we do, I want to set a record here on today's show. We are closing in on the month of October, about to close the book on September. The most subscribers we've gotten on a Chiefs video this month is 150. Not bad, or 128 rather. Not bad, but we can do better. I want to get 150 new subs off of today's video. Guys, can you make it happen? For daily Chiefs coverage, live shows every Tuesday, watch parties most game days, breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more. It's all right here on the Chiefs Report. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. Belichick sounds off. The former New England Patriots head coach loved what he saw from Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes on Sunday. And that's contrary to what most people were saying after the Chiefs' performance against the Falcons, when Mahomes did not necessarily play that great, if we're going to be honest with you. But Belichick went on the Pat McAfee show and said this. One of the things that really jumped out to me Sunday night when they interviewed Mahomes, they're 3-0, and you could easily sit there and say they're on course, and here we go again with a big win in Atlanta and all that. But there's Mahomes talking about how bad they're playing and how much harder they need to work and improve. And honestly, I think that's the attitude of a champion right there. It jumps off the screen at you. They won a big game, and really what he's talking about is how much work they have to do and how much better they need to be, and how it starts with him. When he says that, and you're a member of that team, it's hard for you not to take that same attitude and say, you know what, if Patrick feels we need to play better, then we need to play better. Then maybe I need to play better too. I thought that was a great leadership from their leader. So let's break this down piece by piece of what Belichick had to say there, starting with saying that Mahomes knows that KC needs to improve. And you think about it where the Kansas City Chiefs are at through the first 3 games. You just went through a gauntlet, right? You took on 3 teams that have pretty good quarterbacks with Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Kirk Cousins, and it's not getting any easier. You play the Chargers this week. We'll see what the status is when it comes to Justin Herbert, but then you're looking ahead, and it's going to be a challenge. You think about what this team's went through, all right? Yes, they're 3-0, but they haven't looked good in that process. They're not getting the style points. Thank God this is not the BCS in college football where you're trying to have to prove yourself to make one of the big bowl games or something. This is thankfully they're not Florida State last year getting left out of the playoff, right? You got the win over the Ravens, 27-20 in a nail-biter. You got by the Bengals in a come-from-behind win. Week 3, you beat the Falcons on the road, 22-17. But now you look ahead the next 3 weeks. You take on the Chargers, and the Chargers have a lot of issues, but it's still a road game and a divisional matchup. You take on the Saints, and the Saints looked really good the first 2 weeks. That's a team that should not be taken lightly by any stretch of the imagination. You have a bye, and then you face the San Francisco 49ers. I know the Niners don't look great. They've already lost 2 games. But they're going to be hungry. They're going to be wanting revenge from the Super Bowl. It's a road game. They still have Purdy and all those guys there. The Chiefs need to figure some things out pretty fast. How would you grade the Chiefs' start to the season? They're 3-0, but haven't looked good. What do you guys think? A, B, C, D, or F? Weigh in and let us know on our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Let us know, A, B, C, D, or F. Number 2 on the takeaways from what Belichick had to say about Mahomes and the Chiefs. He talked about the attitude of a champion, that Mahomes has the mindset, that he knows what it takes. He's been there, done that. And I think what you see with a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who's still very young, only 29 years old, he is wise but beyond his years. That Mahomes is carrying himself so well and carrying this team with the right approach and the right mindset. And I don't think we show you guys this enough of just this resume for Patrick Mahomes of where things are at right now. When we talk about the attitude of a champion, the resume's there to back it up. I mean, 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, 2-time NFL MVP, 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro. You guys already know that, but I don't think it gets said enough of just what this guy has already accomplished throughout his career and shown what it takes to win at the highest level. And the other guys, they got to feed off that from Patrick Mahomes. Number 3, from what Belichick had to say, it starts with Mahomes. It starts with Patrick Mahomes. It ends with Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes hasn't played great. If we're going to be honest with y'all, through the first 3 games, this is not the best version of Patrick Mahomes that we have seen by any stretch of the imagination based on the way he's played to start off 2024. But I'm of the mindset, I have no reason to think that Mahomes isn't going to figure it out, that it isn't going to get better. Maybe Mahomes doesn't win the MVP this year. Oh, well. Enjoy another MVP, Lamar Jackson. We know you're not going to do anything in the postseason anyway. This team is all about winning in January and February and not September, and they're still winning football games. Mahomes' completion percentage, solid, nice, 69.6%, 659 yards, 5 touchdowns with 4 picks. I think that's the thing with Mahomes. If there's one big takeaway of what he needs to do differently that could help out this team going forward, the biggest thing is cutting back on turnovers. Mahomes got to do a better job taking care of the football. He knows that. The Chiefs know that. And I think he'll figure it out at some point going forward from here as far as that goes. What is your confidence level in Patrick Mahomes of turning things around, of getting it back on track? How do you guys feel right now? Scale it for me 1 through 10. My confidence level, I'm going with a 10. I have no reason to doubt 15 and what he brings to the table. Scale it for me 1 through 10 in the comment section. Xavier Worthy jerseys are on sale now. Xavier Worthy, I got to tell you, I'm excited about him. Can't wait to see what he continues to do here in Kansas City. He's wearing the number 1. We got the home red jersey. We got the road white. Got men's and women's options, all sorts of different shapes and sizes. And there's free shipping available as well. Go see for yourself. Chatsports.com/Worthy. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. 2 more on the takeaways from Belichick. He talked about this team taking on Mahomes' mentality. And the thing for me, the way I interpret that, is to lead by example. And Mahomes is sitting here saying to himself, look, I'm not playing great. We're not playing great. We got work to do. And if you're a young guy in that Chiefs locker room, and Patrick Mahomes is sitting here saying, I got to get better, doesn't that send a message to the young guys in that locker room, to everybody else? Hey, if the most talented quarterback in the history of this game is sitting here saying, I got to do more, that means everybody else has got to do more. Mahomes said this a while back on the weekly mentality, on getting better every week. He said you just have to have the mentality of getting yourself better. In order to win, you have to get better and better every single year, and that's the mentality you have to have. And that's what I think everybody else is taking on, is that mentality of getting better each and every week, and I think you're going to see improvements from there. Last thing from Belichick, great leadership from the leader. There's no doubt about it. This is Patrick Mahomes' team. That hasn't changed. This isn't Travis Kelce's team. This isn't Rashee Rice's team. This isn't Chris Jones' team. This is Patrick Mahomes' team, and he's locked in. And he's saying the right things. He's delivering the right messaging. Even his wife, Brittany Mahomes, a while back, said this when it comes to Mahomes and his leadership skills. He would never once blame it on anyone else like it was what I am doing wrong. How can I be better as a leader? How can I make this team be better? And that's what he's doing. He's looking for ways to get better, and everybody else is going to fall in line and do the same thing here. Folks, I understand they're not playing great, but they're 3-0. Could be a lot worse. Mahomes, he's going to figure it out. I can guarantee you that much. For continuing Chiefs coverage, subscribe now to the Chiefs Report, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. I'm Tyler Jones. We'll see you next time. How would you grade the Chiefs' start to the season? A, B, C, D, or F? Weigh in. Let us know in the comment section what you think of what the Chiefs have done so far to this point. Final segment before we wrap up is our mailbag. Last chance to get on the mailbag. Last chance to get a super chat in. Folks, every live show I've done here on the Chiefs Report, we've had at least one super chat. We got to keep the streak going. Somebody send in $1, $2, I don't care. Keep the streak going. We cannot go without a super chat on today's show. And if you send a super chat, your question is going first in the mailbag. First time super chat to get the KC chant. $5 to do the Mahomes song. $10 will take some shots. $25 will do a spicy jelly bean. $50 to a beer bong. If we reach 200, then we will do a boot here on today's show. Up next, mailbag time. Hashtag Chiefs or super chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. We'll do that, and then we'll wrap up and call it a day here on this Tuesday afternoon. Thanks for hanging out with us, Jones and Big Tex, here with you. We'll get to our mailbag segment starting right now. It is time to touch our bags and drop our sack on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. You got questions, you're in luck. I got answers as we answer your rumors, mailbag questions, some trade ideas, some thoughts on this Chiefs team, where things stand right now. We'll react to it all here on today's show. This comes from the live show we do each and every Tuesday afternoon, and you may be saying to yourself, man, I would love to be a part of a mailbag. I would love to have Tyler Jones answer my questions. Well, you can do so by subscribing to the channel and join us for our next live show here on the Chiefs Report. Subscribe now, turn on notifications. You'll be the first to know when we have new content, whether it's breaking news, a live show, watch parties. Join the Noti Gang. If you're in the Noti Gang, spam Noti Gang in the comment section. We'll get started with today's show. KC Mo. Whoa. Writes in, could the Chiefs make a trade for Budda Baker? Budda. Budda Baker, there's a decent chance that he gets dealt at the trade deadline. I feel like I've been talking about that for 2 years, though, with Budda Baker, as the Cardinals have been a mess. They've been a dumpster fire, and he's still there. And you look at the Chiefs' safety room, I think that you have some good pieces there, but we'd be lying to ourselves if we sat here and said Budda Baker would not make this group better. And the corner position has some question marks. You could make the corner spot feel a lot better if Budda Baker's playing safety and he can kind of bail out the corners a little bit as well. So, with that said, another point I'd bring up on the Budda Baker potential trade is the trade value on Budda Baker has gone down a lot from what it once was. When he first was talked about as a trade candidate 2 years ago, the idea was a first-round pick or maybe a second-round pick. Now I think you might be able to get him for a third at this juncture. So let's just see where the price tag is at. I don't think you're trading for him tomorrow, but if he's available when the trade deadline rolls around, maybe we can have that discussion. But that's not something I'm opposed to later on, but at least for now, I lean towards no, just kind of see how this defense plays out, see where they go from here, and then we can have the discussion potentially later. Should the Chiefs trade for Budda Baker? It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in, let us know what you think. T for trade, P for pass. Chime in and let us know. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. As Tom Downey would say, take advantage of it. And get your votes in. T for trade, P for pass. Weigh in, let us know. Tony writes in. Tony the Tiger. Good to see you, Tony. What can the Chiefs bring in a trade deadline? 1 edge rusher, 2 wide receivers. To be honest, I'm not worried, but we need someone to fill in. Tony, when it comes to the trade deadline, I'm looking at wideout and I'm looking at corner. Those are the things I'm narrowing in on when it comes to the trade deadline. But I want to see just how does this go. Think about this. You're 3-0, beating some good teams, beating some good quarterbacks the last 3 weeks. But does it hold up? How are you going to look against the Saints? How are you going to look against the Niners and some of these other teams over the next few weeks? If the Chiefs continue to work through this, maybe you don't need to do anything at all. But if they get exposed, if it starts to cost them games, then that's a different discussion. Then we might sit here and say, you know what, yeah, maybe it is time to make a trade. But for now, it's not costing you in the win-loss column, so there's no sense of urgency. Until it hurts them in the win-loss column, I don't see a sense of urgency necessarily when it comes to making those moves. But keep your eye out. We'll see what they do. I don't even know how to say this. Is it Gour? Gour 90086? How do you see the running back situation playing out once Kareem Hunt is activated? So I expect Kareem Hunt to be activated for the Chiefs game against the Chargers coming up on Sunday. And here's how I think the roles are kind of divvied up with Isaiah Pacheco out. I think Carson Steele is your bell cow. He is the main guy that you use the most. I don't expect him to be breaking out for any 60 and 70-yard runs by any stretch of the imagination, but he's your bell cow that has the responsibility to get me 4 and 5 yards at a time. Samaje Perine is going to be your main receiving back, which is a big key to the Andy Reid offense, is having those receiving backs. It goes all the way back to when he coached Brian Westbrook with the Philadelphia Eagles. He loves running backs that can catch. They use it as a substitute for the run game. When it comes to screen passing and the short passing game, I think that's Perine's role. And then Kareem Hunt, where I think he comes in is short yardage situations inside the red zone to be your power back. You got 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. You're at the goal line. That's when you bring in Kareem Hunt. He's not as fast as he used to be, but he's still built like an ox. I mean, the dude is massive. So that's where I see him coming in. Remember, he had, 8, 9 touchdowns with the Browns last year. So I think it kind of gets split up that way. It's not going to be just one guy replacing Isaiah Pacheco. It's going to take a few guys. And I think I'm optimistic from what I saw in that Falcons game that the Chiefs' run game is going to be okay. Tony says, what are the biggest keys to victory against the Chargers? Well, glad you asked. We talked about this on the channel. Got a video out this week on our keys to victory. And here they are. Here's the short version. More Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice is on fire to start the season. I want to continue to feed him. I want to eat all the rice. I want fried rice. I want brown rice. I want white rice. All the rice. More Rashee Rice. Establish the run. Get those 4 and 5 yards of carry. Set the tone with the run game. Aggressive with the pass rush. Take advantage of that depleted Chargers offensive line with Chris Jones and Karlaftis. Take care of the football. Mahomes got to cut back on those turnovers and let Nick Bolton fly. I like what I've seen from Nick Bolton. I want more of it from Nick Bolton here in the coming weeks. Chiefs fan for life writes in, do you think the Chiefs should consider trading for Khalil Herbert? That was one we talked about last week of an idea. And I got to tell you, Khalil Herbert's not a bad idea. The Bears have kind of phased him out of their offense. I think Khalil is a good running back. I liked him when he was at KU, but I would say that it's going to probably take an injury for the Chiefs to make a trade at the running back spot, another one besides Pacheco. But Khalil Herbert is one to kind of keep on the radar for when the trade deadline rolls around there. Terrence writes in as Big Tex pulls up the other question. What do you think about our DBs so far? You know, the DBs for the Chiefs, I think they've held their own. This was a big question mark for the Kansas City Chiefs heading into this year, is what they would do with these DBs without having L'Jarius Sneed there. Trent McDuffie stepped up. Justin Reid's looked good. I think they've been fine. They've passed the smell test at this point. They still have more tests to go, but I think it's better than what people thought it was going to be when it comes to these DBs so far to this point. F the Chargers writes in, would it make sense for the Chiefs to trade for Devin Singletary? So that's another potential running back trade option for the Chiefs. Singletary's been solid for the New York Giants. I think the Giants are eventually going to fade, potentially at the trade deadline, and selling guys off like Singletary, maybe Dexter Lawrence and a few others there. But you look at Singletary, close to 5 yards carry, 2 touchdowns, had close to 1,000 yards last year. I think Singletary, it would have to be a setback on Pacheco. If Pacheco doesn't get right, if he doesn't get back to 100%, then you start to look at your options and maybe make a big play for a guy like Singletary. But if he's progressing fine, if he's heading the right direction, then I think they roll with what they got. But keep an eye on Singletary potentially if another running back injury goes down. Should the Chiefs trade for Devin Singletary? Type Y for yes, in for no. Weigh in the comments section. Let us know if you think the Chiefs should trade for Singletary or not. Last question in the mailbag this week comes from Jerry. Jerry. What do you think will happen to Rice next year? I think a suspension is probably coming next year. Probably not this year. The legal process is going to let itself play out. Then the league probably hands down a suspension. I don't know how long, anywhere from 6 to 8 games probably. And then hopefully you get him back and he plays at a high level like he's doing this year. I think that's, in all likelihood, what you're going to face. For continuing Chiefs coverage, subscribe to the channel now. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. I'm Tyler Jones. We'll see you next time. All right. There you have it. We are just about to sign off. Let us know, should the Chiefs trade for Devin Singletary? Y for yes, in for no. A reminder, we'll be live coming up this Sunday for the Chiefs and Chargers matchup right here on the channel. We'll see you then. For Big Tex, I'm Tyler Jones. Have a great day. So long, everybody.